Everybody, it's Dina Rico with the Creativity Cave, and I have a really cool project to share with you today. And this is really what this is kind of like a snippet, if you will, of my monthly Facebook classes. These are classes that I hold each month. You can subscribe to them for $15 a month, or you can purchase just 1 month for $25. The class includes 3 Facebook Lives, and each of those Facebook Lives has 3 card layouts, as well as at least 3 color combinations. Now for each card layout, I show you several examples. So this is actually a layout from our January class, and we create a sample layout just like this, where we have all of the dimensions that we use. So this was from our second Facebook Live in January, and it was the 3rd card layout we did that day. And so what I do is I give you the dimensions so you can make a sample layout card. And the idea is that you collect all these cards, and then you have layout ideas to use when you sit down to stamp. The reason I started these Facebook Live classes was I've heard a lot of people who struggle with how much time they spend when they sit down to make cards. They struggle with color, and they just overall want to stamp more and putz less, like be a little bit better, using their time better, because their time is so precious. So what I want to do is show you just a sample of what it would be like to be in my Facebook Live class. So I'm going to use this layout as my basis for our projects. And my first card is a really bright and happy, kind of sassy card. I love it. It is a total Dina card, if you know my style. It's bright and happy with black and white. So when I made this layout, actually, I loved the printed paper that I used on here. So I'm going to reuse that same layering. So I've got my printed paper layer is 2 1/4 by 4 1/2, and then the layer behind it is 2 1/2 by 4 3/4. So I love that these measurements are here for me, ready to go whenever I sit back to make my cards. Okay, and you'll find, so the other thing that's really great about the class too is I post all the photos, I post the dimensions, and then I also open it up for you to make your cards and share them with everybody in the group so that you can get some ideas yourself from everybody else. And it's amazing the amount of inspiration that is in these classes. The people who are taking them are raving about the classes, first of all. And second of all, they are sharing their creations, which are really, really fun. Now for this, I'm making a little bit of a hodgepodge card here because I'm using several different sets to put this together. I'm going to start out with a sentiment from Life is Grand. This is a new stamp set, and it's one of our distinctive stamp sets, so you can see this neat texture and shading in the stamp. It's built in. So let's take a look at that when we stamp it. I'm going to use some black Memento ink, and I'm just going to stamp this "Hello Dear Friend" onto my 3x2 panel of Whisper White. So that's pretty easy. And then look at that. You can see the shading in the stamp. It's like built in. And you know what? I don't feel like that stamped very well. So let's do it one more time. I'm going to ink it up a little better. Yeah, I should have looked at my stamp before I stamped it down. So now I can look and see I've got much better coverage. So I'll just flip that over. And oh yes, that looks much better. So there we go. We'll set that aside for the moment. And then what I want to do is take and decorate this, because this is pretty boring as it is. I love black and white cards, but we're going to add some pop of color. So I've got a couple scraps here. I've got some Melon Mambo and some Grapefruit Grove. And I'm going to take the stamp set Bloom by Bloom, and I'm going to use this cute little image here, and then the punch pack that goes with it. So there's several punches in this punch pack, but I'm just going to take 2 of the 4 of them, and we're going to stamp them a couple of times so that we have some fun, bright, happy little flowers. Okay. And I'm going to leave a little space around each one, and I'll stamp those. All right. And then I'll punch these out. So I'm going to punch one with this punch. And isn't that cute? It's got the little center. And then I'm going to punch the other with this punch. Ooh. That was stuck there for a second. Okay, so that's just a slightly different shape of flower, which is just so much fun to put these little punches together. These punches just make me happy. Okay, now the other thing I'm going to do is, I took the floral frames, and there's several little greenery die pieces. And what I love about this is you get 2 of each. So in one pass, I die cut all these pieces. So I have 2 of the larger ones in vellum, 2 of the ferny ones in lemon lime twist, and then 2 of these other leafy ones in granny apple green. So let's go ahead and put this whole card together. First of all, I'm going to adhere my layer of my sentiment onto my black layer. And then I'm going to pop this up onto my card. Now, the best thing I think to do, and you know what, I'm going to leave this open because I might need a little bit more stamped. We'll see. The best thing that you can do when you pop up something and you want the stuff to kind of stick out behind that layer is to keep your dimensionals sort of in the middle, rather than all in the 4 corners. So I'm kind of putting them right in the center here. And that way I can tuck those little sprigs around as necessary. Okay, so I'll move those out of the way, and I'm just going to add this right here. Oh, so much fun. Okay, and then I'm going to take and tuck these in. I'll start with my largest leaves, which are right here. Sometimes I rip off those branches too. So we'll stick one right there, and we'll stick one right here. Right before I went live, I had to laugh. My kids are home from school today again, and my son asked if my cards come from my imagination or from somewhere else. And I said, well, actually mostly from my imagination. So he seemed impressed by that. Okay, so there's another flower or leaf. I love this particular ferny leafy branchy thing. Okay, and I'll kind of have that one sticking up a little bit. And then last but not least is this one. And we'll just tuck that one right in there. And finally, this one, and these are real skinny branches, so I just want to be a little tiny bit careful. Okay, so that is, so much fun. Okay, but wait, there's more. So now we're going to add a couple of our little flowers. So I'm just going to kind of curl these up a little bit because I love having dimension in my cards. And we'll just tuck a couple of them in the corners. And then I love this little bit of bright, happy color that we've added to this card. It just makes it so much fun. And I think it really brightens things up a lot on here and just adds a little something, something. You know what I mean? Okay. And then last but not least, of course, we've got to embellish it a little bit. So I'm going to grab some of my rhinestones, just kind of old school rhinestones, and I'll take my pick your tool and just put a little one in the center of each of these, and then I might sprinkle a few more on. And like I said, this is just such a fun, happy, bright card. It does use a little bit of a hodgepodge of stuff, but it is so much fun to just play with the different combinations. Now, of course, you could do this in a lot of different colors that are bright and happy on here. My favorite, of course, is using, what is that color I love so much? Coastal Cabana. Isn't this awesome? And don't wait, there's more cards, so just you wait. Okay, so I'm going to add just a few more because, you know, what girl doesn't like a little bling on her cards? Oh, so much fun. But I think this would brighten anybody's day who received such a fun card in the mail. Oh my goodness. I love it. It turned out even better than I'd kind of hoped it would. So that's always nice. Okay, so there we go. Some great, bright happiness. All right, next, I'm going to continue on using this layout. And one of the things I love showing is the versatility. So I'm going to take another half sheet of Whisper White cardstock. I always use thick Whisper White for my card bases. I've cut myself a piece of Lemon Lime Twist gingham. This is from the Gingham Gala. And then, of course, I've got my coordinating piece of solid cardstock to go with it. Now, this time I'm going to rotate my card 90 degrees. So I'm going to put this at the bottom of my card. And then I'm going to take and stamp, or I'm going to adhere a piece of Whisper White on a piece of Poppy Parade. Now, one of the things that I think is so much fun about this are just the different color combinations that you can use and get different looks. So this is a bright hoppy card. I can't help myself. It's terrible. I know. I'm so sorry. Okay. The reason I said it's a bright hoppy card is because we're totally going to use the Hoppy Together stamp set. Okay. So I've just got a scrap of white cardstock here, and I'm going to stamp my cute little nerdy frog, because who knew a nerdy frog could be so cute? Well, I don't know about you, but in my house we have several nerdy frogs. Okay, they're just nerdy people. That would be my husband, my son, and my daughter. And they're self-professed nerds, so I'm not calling them out or anything. I'm going to take my Stampin' Blends and color my frog in. I've got a couple of really fun tips along the way, and this is another thing I love about my classes. They're always full of tips. So I'm drawing a little heart on his lips. So he's got his kissy lips on. Okay, and then I'm also going to do some coloring. So first of all, I want his tummy to be red to kind of make it fun for Valentine's Day, because this is going to be a Valentine frog card. Okay, so I've colored in the dark, and now I'm going to go with my light Poppy Parade marker, and I'm just coloring over, blending out that color so I get a little bit of shading going. Then I'm going to do the green. This is Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to kind of go all the way around his head, and I'm leaving just a little space on his mouth so I don't kind of get too much blending happening there. And then I'll do his hand here, his feet. So the reason well, first of all, my kids are all self-professed nerds. They say that, not me. But they are really into robotics. They're really good students. They don't party, so we're pretty proud of their choices. So that's all good. Hoping that continues. So I'm just coloring in with my lighter color now, doing some blending. The lighter Granny Apple Green. Now, if you struggle with feathering or your colors bleeding too much, just use a little bit less and leave just a teeny skosh of space between the line of your image and the edge, and that will really help. Okay, so there's my cute little frog. Now, we have a set of framelits coming March 1st, so this is a little preview that will cut out these shapes. So you can earn your So Hoppy Together stamp set, but you'll be able to purchase, if you would like, starting March 1st, framelits to die cut him out. So I just think this is so stinking cute. All right, so we're gonna just pop him up on our card. Oh my gosh, it's just so cute. All right, and then the other thing I wanted to do, and I got a little hasty, I did mean to actually tie on some ribbon at the top of this, but I got all excited with my, we'll just do a bow like this. I got excited and popped up my layer too soon. Oh, that reminds me, I was going to put a bow on my card, but you know what? I think it's okay without my other card that I did. All right, so I'll just do this like so. So if you haven't given my classes a try, I really encourage you to do it. I have been getting incredibly positive feedback from the people who've been joining us, and almost every single person who's tried it out for a month has continued on with a subscription. So I'm very excited about that as well. That says to me that month after month, these classes are awesome, and I get that feedback as well. Okay, now I'm going to do one more stamped image, and I'm going to take the Hey Valentine from the set Hey Love. That's the critter set as well. We've got a couple critters going on now. And I'll show you the set. So I just loved that sentiment for this card. I'm going to punch this with my classic label punch and then add it to my card. Now this is loosely based on a card that my new friend Lisa Hardy made at a presentation when we were, oops, I put adhesive on the wrong side of that. At a presentation that she did at Onstage back in November with this set, and it was probably the hardest I'd laughed in a long time, actually. And it involved this stamp and another one. Let's just say the hand placement was unfortunate. That's all I'm going to say about that. So look at how cute is that? I just love the kissy lips. So there we go. That's the same card layout, but in a totally different way. And then next, I'm going to show you one more card, and then I have one more sample. Okay, so on this card, I've taken and folded a piece of Petal Pink cardstock. I've embossed a panel of Petal Pink cardstock. And by the way, I'll put all the dimensions for these projects in the description of this video for you, just because I know I haven't been saying all of them as I've been going. So on here, my panel is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, so there's just a skinny little border around the edge. Now on this card, I took the stamp set Climbing Roses, and the coordinating framelits for this set are kind of amazing. I wanted to use this in place of my oblong layer, so I die cut this piece. I'm going to attach it by using my favorite adhesive method for these complicated detailed dies. That is to squeeze a little bit of glue out, and then I've got a sponge that I've attached with a binder clip. I'm just going to kind of spread this out so it's not all gloppy, and then I'm going to turn this over, and my silicone mat will keep everything from sticking all over. And I'm just sponging on some adhesive. Now the beauty of this is that it won't be sticky on the front side, so I love that. So look at that, I'd adhered it and my fingers are not at all sticky, so that makes me very happy. All right, we'll set this aside because we're done with it. Now I also die cut from this set this awesome label. Isn't that cool? We're going to stamp a sentiment on here from the Climbing Roses stamp set, which is, and I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper here just because I want to try this one out, make sure I get my spacing correct. I'm going to use some basic gray just to kind of soften things up a little rather than black. And I just want to make sure that this is, please be good. Oh, yay. I got that on the label. Awesome. I like giving my stamps a little practice run sometimes just to make sure they go where I want them to. Okay, now as usual, we're going to pop this layer up onto our card, kind of in the middle, and then I'm going to tuck some things underneath. So first of all, I'm just going to position that right there. I thought of you today. That's so nice. Okay, then I'm going to take and stamp this cute little rose image. I'm going to stamp it in my basic gray ink, just like before. Oh, I stamped it upside down. There you go. So we're going to color this with some Stampin' Blends. And I have the Petal Pink and the Calypso Coral colored blends. I'm going to start with my dark Calypso Coral and just add a few bits of color right where these lines are that kind of give me some shading. So basically at the base of each petal, I've got some dark color, and I'm literally just kind of putting a few dots around here because I don't want too much color, but a little bit. And then of course it gets nice and dark towards the center of this rose. All right, just put a little bit more here. Okay. Then I'll use the light Calypso Coral, and I'll do a little bit more blending here, but I'm not coloring the whole thing. I'm just kind of going over part of it. Definitely leaving some white space so I can come back and add even more color. Then I'll go with the dark Petal Pink, and once again, I'm just kind of coloring that in, blending out from those dark edges to the lighter petal tips. So everything is looking good. All right. And then finally, I'll finish it up with some light Petal Pink. I'm going to go out to the edges of those petals. Sometimes I think the lightest color almost acts like a color lifter. It just lightens everything up a little bit. So that looks pretty good to me. I'll finish up by using some soft seafoam for the leaves. Again, I always start with my dark color and then work towards the light. And then I've got my light soft seafoam. We'll kind of do the rest of the petals. I don't feel like there's a huge difference in color here, so I'm also going to use my Mint Melody just along that kind of vein to add just a touch more color. Okay, and let me bring this up so you can see that. Looks pretty good. Okay, now I did do this ahead of time and die cut it out for you. So here is that beautiful flower. All right, now I'm going to pop this up onto my card, and I'm also going to add a couple of these leaves. Now these are also from this set of dies and whatnot, and I'm just going to tuck one of each of these in underneath the label on either side. And you know what, I thought about doing a vellum one of these two, and then I never committed to that, so that's another option, would be to add another leaf in vellum just to kind of fill it up a little bit more. But like I said, I guess I didn't really come back to that. All right, so there we go. And then we're just going to pop this beautiful rose up right there. And isn't that a beautiful card? Really simple, but pretty. And then lastly, I have another card. This was actually one from the class that we did in January. This features the Geared Up Garage with the Garage Grunge DSP. I used that here and here. And then I die cut some of those gears in some silver foil paper and added one of these fun elements. And then of course our stamp is from that Geared Up Garage stamp set. So isn't that a fun example of this too? So let me bring in all the cards I made. Now in each live we do 3 of these. Okay, so I've got a great color combination here with my Calypso Coral Petal Pink and Soft Seafoam. I've got a fun, happy color combination here with my Lemon Lime Twist, Granny Apple Green, and Poppy Parade. And then, of course, my favorite, black and white with a pop of color with Lemon Lime Twist, Granny Apple Green, Grapefruit Grove, and Melon Mambo. So I hope you liked these projects. I hope that if you are interested in learning more about how to improve your stamping skills, that you'll consider taking my class. I've got the link in the description here for you to register. It is so much fun, and you will learn so many amazing tips. And whether you are a new stamper or a seasoned stamper, I think you're really going to enjoy the class. So thanks so much for stamping with me today, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye.